MCU Spider-Man 5 opens with us being reintroduced to our main protagonist, Peter Parker. It's been a year since the events of the last film. This is when we will be introduced to Peter's main arc in this film. After the events of the last movie, he is in a better place than he was before. He has learned to start letting people in, but there is still a sense of darkness inside of him, which was shown when he almost killed the Scorpion in the last film, and he's desperately trying to hold on to everything because he doesn't want to lose it like what happened in No Way Home. He needs to let people in and hold on to everything, which will be his driving force for the film. However, in this film, in the events in between MCU Spider-Man 4 and 5, Peter and Black Cat have been getting closer. They both know each other's secret identities and are partners in and out of costume. They will be going on a few dates, and Peter has let her into his life. But because of this, Peter is starting to regress. He's starting to worry that the same thing is going to happen again. After he lets people in, they eventually almost get hurt and they end up leaving him eventually. Peter doesn't want to be alone again. He cannot have everyone leave him, so he is doing whatever he can to get everyone to be safe, but also stay with him so nothing bad happens to others in his life. At this point, crime in New York City has been greatly controlled by policies implemented by Mayor Wilson Fisk, which has led to the police being tougher on any costumed vigilantes. With his platform a success, Fisk has already started making plans to get re-elected so he can continue his control over New York City, not only to stop Spider-Man, but also the other crime lords who are a risk of overthrowing him if he doesn't get elected mayor. However, it will be revealed in this scene that a man named Roderick Kingsley is actually running for mayor against Wilson Fisk. Kingsley will be the successful business owner of a fashion industry, which develops and sells prototypes, which are becoming very successful in New York City. Kingsley will be presented as a very excellent businessman. He knows how to tell the people what they want to hear and how to appeal to the crowd's best interests. Kingsley has no motivation. He's similar to Fisk. He just wants power for the sake of having it, not for any reason, not for any emotional attachment. He must hold on to this power, or he'll have nothing else left. We then cut to a scene of Spider-Man and Black Cat taking down a bunch of criminals together when suddenly Peter seems different. Felicia notices he's been getting more brutal. With the suit, he's been taking his anger out more on the criminals rather than focusing on protecting the innocent. She then asks Peter what's wrong, and this is when we get our flashback to the end of the last film. Peter and Felicia arrived at MJ's party, and they couldn't believe it. It's Mary Jane Watson, the woman Peter has loved since forever. Things are incredibly awkward between them until Felicia steps in and asks if they know each other. Peter introduces himself as the guy from the coffee shop, and MJ seems to remember him, but it has not had a lasting effect on her. Her boyfriend then comes up from the hall, and his name is revealed to be Harry Osborn. Everything around Peter goes dark as he can't believe it. That name, Osborn, it can't be. He begins to have flashes of Aunt May dying because of the Green Goblin, only this time it's Felicia dying. And it's everyone in his life falling away from him, and he can't believe it. And everything goes dark as we cut back to the present day. Felicia will continue to ask Peter what's bothering him, and he decides to tell her about Norman Osborn and what he did to him, how he ruined his life. But he doesn't tell her about MJ because knowing what's going to happen. However, we get the sense that Peter would want to tell her about MJ, but there's something inside him telling him not to say anything. Felicia then changes the subject, how different Peter's been acting. Ever since he got that new suit, he has been different. He has been moody. He has been driven by something, and she just wants to know if there's anything she can do to help. Peter brushes it off and says he's fine. Felicia tells him that he's not fine, but then Peter says he's fine, sternly, and she leaves. This new suit has been something that Peter likes. He can finally take his anger out on the criminals, and it's the only thing he doesn't have to worry about leaving him. Everyone else in his life has left him at some point, but the suit won't do that. It's the only thing that understands him. We then cut to Fisk, who ever since becoming mayor has been really swamped dealing with this vigilante problem. Ever since he pushed the zero-tolerance policy on any costumed vigilantes, it's been difficult for him to keep all of them occupied. Daredevil shouldn't be a problem because of his previous experience with him, but the real issue is Spider-Man and the Black Cat. He can't do anything about them because they keep dismantling his operations and the public loves them. Fisk needs a surefire way to turn public opinion against the two, and it needs to work or he will fail, and Fisk will refuse to admit defeat, especially not Spider-Man. We then hard cut to a scene of Peter and Felicia sitting on Peter's bed and looking at his laptop watching the news. Mayor Wilson Fisk has just signed off and approved a new law yesterday which only allows registered vigilantes to work alongside the police and U.S. military to apprehend criminals. This action allows Fisk to be seen as a hero to the public while Spider-Man is now an outlaw. By announcing the formation of a special task force created by Fisk, the task force reveals their identity on live TV, getting the support of the public. And it is here where Fisk's true intentions become very clear. He created this registration act to get Spider-Man to be pushed out of the picture completely. Since he knows that he can't beat Spider-Man, he just has to turn the public against him, and this makes Peter furious. And Felicia begins to worry about how bad he's taking it, and how he's even going to be able to go out on patrol, but Peter isn't listening. There's an anger inside of him. He's going to take the fight to Wilson Fisk's doorstep. Fisk enters his office the next day, looking over all of New York City, when suddenly Spider-Man crashes in the window, staring straight in the eyes into his enemy. Peter confronts Fisk about the registration, and Fisk says he needed a way to put Spider-Man under his thumb. With the new election on the horizon, public perception can be a powerful weapon. Something big is coming. He can feel it. A turf war to shake up the entire city of New York and guarantee his position as the kingpin of crime. Fisk threatens Spider-Man and says that if he doesn't fall in line, he's going to tell the whole world that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. After what happened with Mysterio, Peter can't let that happen again. He can't lose everyone. Peter attacks Fisk, punching him, and he notices Fisk is taking the punches a lot harder than last time. In their last encounter, Fisk was beating him all over the room, but this time, Fisk is getting thrown left and right. It's the suit, Peter realizes. It makes him stronger, but that's not it. Fisk is getting beaten harder and harder, and now the form of the Kingpin turns into a victim? No, this isn't right. Peter was so focused on pummeling Fisk that he didn't notice his spider sense going off. J. Jonah Jameson appears in the hallway, and he is furious, demanding to know what happened. Fisk says that Spider-Man was sent here by one of his political enemies, demanding for him to drop out of the race, and he refused, and for that, he was beaten up. Fisk uses this to push for the registration, and Spider-Man is declared public enemy number 1. After being framed for the attack on Wilson Fisk, Peter's reputation is seemingly destroyed. J. Jonah Jameson uses the security camera footage to show everyone what happened, and pretty soon the whole world is against him. Combined with the Mysterio controversy and working with a known cat burglar, Spider-Man's reputation is over. Peter will be swinging around the city, seeing billboards of him being attacked, and he gets drawn closer to the symbiote. It's the only one that keeps believing in him. The entire world is against him except for the suit. It cares. it's still there with him. He doesn't need anyone. All he needs is the suit. Throughout all this, we see that there's a dramatic shift in how the people see Spider-Man, as Peter is called into Jameson's office the next day. Jameson seems to be really supporting Fisk's Registration Act, and his hatred for Spider-Man seems more real than just fake. After being there when Fisk was assaulted, he tells Peter that from now on they are going to generate positive content to Wilson Fisk. This makes Peter sick, but he can't do anything about it. Jameson is also on his list of people who keeps treating him like this. He's tired of being treated like this. Peter doesn't like this, and the suit keeps egging him on, but he agrees to help find something that will generate Fisk's positive reputation. We then see Peter and Felicia have been spending a lot of time with MJ and Harry, due to Peter wanting to keep an eye out for MJ ever since his initial suspicions about him. Harry lost his father when he was very young, and he inherited Oscorp from him. Now that they are relocating in New York after being in Los Angeles, Harry offers Peter a job, but he declines. We can also see how throughout in these moments, Peter and MJ seem to get closer. Though she still doesn't remember him, memories might be lost, but the feelings are still there. MJ will say stuff like she's known Peter for years, and Peter will be not sure how to react to it, and they begin to get closer. However, as Peter and MJ begin to get closer, Peter and Felicia's relationship has been strained. On top of noticing how different Peter is and how they barely ever spend any time outside of patrol, Peter now seems to be paying more attention to MJ than her, and it's really starting to affect their relationship. We then skip to the re-election debate between Kingsley and Fisk. Fisk will be cocky, expecting an easy victory, due to having the support of the entire Daily Bugle behind him. However, Fisk will completely underestimate Roderick Kingsley, who unveils a prototype suit known as the Hobgoblin Armor. He introduces it as something that the fashion company has been developing that helps people when they're in the military able to have more weapon proof. And he then brings up social and political issues with the suit that Fisk did not even think to consider, and the debate begins to go to Kingsley's favor. Kingsley is then seen celebrating in his apartment the next day. His dream of having power over the entire city is almost finished, now that it seems like the election is his favor, when suddenly several armed mercenaries race in. They tell Kingsley that their boss sent him them. Before Kingsley can ask what they mean, they launch him over the building, as it seems that Roderick Kingsley was just killed. The next day, Peter will be thinking to himself, oh, everything seems to be changing. With this suit, things seem to be going well for him, but at the same time, the entire city is against him. He wished that everyone could love him, that no one would leave him, just like the suit has. When suddenly, a news broadcast interrupts him. Roderick Kingsley has gone missing, and nobody knows what to do. This means that Wilson Fisk will be the mayor again by default. Fisk is seen watching this and says, "It's a tragedy." Fisk shows on the screen edited forensic reports and digital designs, showing of Spider-Man's webbing there. He talks about how Spider-Man has to be responsible. He already made an attempt on Fisk's life. He must be targeting the other candidates. As of this moment, he is instructing the task force with special instructions to bring Spider-Man in, dead or alive. Peter gulps after seeing this. Fisk has done it. He's turned the entire world against him. On the Kingsley side of things, it is revealed that he secretly survived the attempt on his life, due to the guards not taking proper care to examine the body. He landed just enough in a safe house and is furious. Fisk will not beat him. He must hold on to power. If he loses power, he loses everything. Then he thinks about how Spider-Man now is public enemy number one. If he kills Spider-Man, he will gain the support of everyone else. They'll have to have another election, he thinks. They'll have to make him the new mayor. After putting on the suit, Kingsley is ready. The Hobgoblin is born. Harry has started to notice how different Peter's been acting around him and approaches him. He's not trying to be mean or anything. He's actually pretty mature about the situation. He asks if it has anything to do with MJ or if it's his fault and he just wants to be a better friend. But Peter doesn't listen, with the symbiote egging him on, saying that he's lying. He's a liar. He's trying to take them away from him. Peter can't let that happen. Harry tries to reassuringly put a hand on his shoulder, but Peter snaps. He punches him, knocking him out unconscious. As Harry is taken away by paramedics to the hospital, Peter runs away, ashamed of his actions. As Peter walks away, he doesn't notice, as he changes into an alleyway to get his costume on and think, the Hobgoblin is watching him and sees him and discovers that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, recreating that panel from Amazing Spider-Man issue 50. Peter is then approached by Felicia, who heard what happened to Harry. She's had enough with him. She has to be done with him. All he's done is use her, the suit. He might have had it harder than anyone else, but he keeps taking it out on people. Peter tries to get her to stay with him and tells her the truth about MJ, but this only pushes her away. She says, "I thought you were different," as she leaves. Peter is thinking now. He's lost everything. Literally everyone in his life has left him. What's the point now? He still can't let the people he loves leave him, but he realizes the symbiote, it isn't a cure, it's a curse. It's just made everyone leave him faster than they would have already. He should have taken the steps to make sure. Him getting so worried is what led to this mess. And the symbiote was just heightening his worries. He can't have it anymore. He has to get it off. And it is this moment where Peter goes to the bell tower and uses sound to pull off the symbiote. It isn't some grand taking it off. It's just about Peter using his emotions to remove it. He is finally back to normal, but he has a lot of damage to repair. There are a lot of things that he's done wrong that he needs to make up for right now. Peter then catches up with MJ the next day at the hospital and apologizes. Surprisingly, MJ says she understands. She says it's okay. She understands that Peter was just stressed about something, and he must have been going through some dark times. Peter says it's true, but he's cut that toxic stuff out of his life now, and he's trying to do better. Peter will then try to apologize to Harry too, but Harry isn't having any of it. Ever since he met Peter, he's just been trying to be a good friend to him, but Peter wouldn't let him, so now it's over. Harry is crippled, and the operation has made him lose his legs. He has nothing in his life anymore. Less than nothing. Peter awkwardly leaves, and he decides to stay with MJ, until MJ decides that she needs to take a call and leaves. But Peter then sees on the news it's been reported. The Hobgoblin is attacking places all over the city, trying to draw out Spider-Man. Peter knows what he has to do. He gets on his mask and swings out. The Hobgoblin has been causing his murderous rampage all over the city, until eventually Spider-Man swings in. He tells him to stop, and the two engage in the final battle. Spider-Man has a lot to make up for, but he fights him. He isn't brutal, and the Hobgoblin is finally defeated. But as he prepares to tie him up for the police, Kingsley laughs, saying that he knows he is Peter Parker. He saw him, and he's going to tell anyone. And when he gets out of prison, he's going to hurt everyone he loves. He knows everyone. Everyone. Black Cat. Those people he saw him hanging out with. He will never stop. And something inside Peter snaps. There's no symbiote. This is just like the Goblin all over again. He picks up a wooden pipe and hits him in the face with it. Again and again until Kingsley is a bloody mess. Spider-Man backs away until his heart stops. Kingsley falls to the floor, unconscious. Peter isn't sure what to do. He swings away. He is ashamed of himself. And this is when we end MCU Spider-Man 5.